Hello, this is Liz Lawless, your host for Wild West Diversity, where we tell the rarely and untold stories of multicultural contributions to the settling of the American Wild West. Each Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be sharing a historical legend and a living legend. Someone from history and someone living that Western lifestyle today, keeping it alive for the future generation. We hope you'll join us on Thursday. If not, we'll see you on the trail. Hello, this is Liz Lawless, your host for Wild West Diversity, and I am just really delighted today because my guest is a longtime friend, but someone that most of you have probably seen or know or heard his name, and I want to welcome actor Burton Gillam.
I'm so proud to be here.
All right. Well, I am so glad, too, that I finally got you to answer your phone so we can make this happen. So, we're just going to have a nice conversation, but we usually kind of start with, how'd you get in this crazy business? Because you didn't start out, did you, wanting to be an actor? I mean, you didn't do that and go to school and all that kind of stuff, acting school and early on, did you?
I never even thought about being an actor until I was one. My first film was a picture called Paper Moon, as you know, and in 1972, June of 72, I saw an article in the papers. They were looking for extras, and I went, and I didn't even really know what an extra was, but I went down and stood in line with 450 people, and I wound up with the sixth largest part, a co-starring role in the picture, and I got a lot of votes for an Academy Award, and I took my vacation from the fire department to do the thing. Then after I did that, well, about 4 months later, Mel Brooks called me, and I kept telling him no, and he kept telling me yes. And I kept going out and telling him no. And finally, Richard Pryor called me, and I went back again for the third time. And we finally made a deal. I told him I had to make as much off of this picture as I made in a year at the fire department. And he said, how much is that? And I said, this is 1972. I said, that's $12,000. And here I am talking to a millionaire of $12,000. And he said, oh, that's okay. So as it turned out, I actually had 4.5 weeks. And with overtime, I made $25,000.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So twice as much you were making at the fire department for 4 weeks worth of work. Wow.
Where was I? I was working that time out in fire station number 39, which is right near where Garland and Mesquite
come together there. Yeah. Out there on the edge.
There.
Right. Yeah. Great. Well, that's so fun. So what did your firefighter friends think when you did that Paper Moon? Because you went back to work after that, didn't you?
Oh, they thought I was crazy doing that,
Right.
And then, of course, Blazing Saddles came out before Paper Moon was even released.
Oh, okay.
When I said I'm quitting the fire department to be in a picture called Blazing Saddles, everybody said, you are crazy. Nuts. My captain, my battalion chief, the chief of the fire department down to the office to talk to him.
Right. Was that Donnie Miller?
I'm sorry?
Was that Donnie Miller? Or was he just in the fire department at that time? I think he came on after you left.
Who is that? Oh, Dodd Miller?
Yeah.
Dodd came on. He was a fireman then.
Right, he was a fireman then.
And Dodd and I grew up in the same neighborhood, went to the same.
Oh, okay. Did he go to Woodrow too? Well, of course. See, I went to school with his son.
Oh, he's always been my friend. Such a wonderful guy.
Wonderful guy. Yeah, wonderful family. Such a thing. Yeah. So great. Okay. So Blazing Saddles was the Mel Brooks movie that you went out and did. Yeah. What was that like? I mean, because there were all kinds of well-known characters and actors, weren't they? Slim Pickens. I mean, who all was?
Oh gosh, just Gene Wilder and Mel.
Oh, I love Gene Wilder. Yeah.
Golly, it was. Of course, I just done Paper Moon with Ryan O'Neal and Madeline.
Madeline was in that. Okay. Yeah.
Oh golly, she was wonderful. And I had no idea that I would ever do anything else. I thought, one shot thing, and then
right
out there this picture, and it was, to everybody else on the picture, it was another job for them.
Right.
For me, it was a lifetime that I'm putting out here.
Right.
If they decide to X this thing out,
right.
I'm without a job, but
right.
But it was just such a wonderful experience to be there with all these big stars you're talking about, and have them treat me just like one of them, although brand new, and I didn't know anything. I knew nothing.
Right.
I didn't know what a close-up was.
Right. That was it, huh? Yeah.
That's right here, folks.
Well, I had the hardest time with video, and I guess it's just like looking at the camera. That's different than standing up and giving a speech, or standing up and looking at 1,000 people or 500. I mean, I could do that tomorrow, but looking at this camera, I'm just like, it took me 4 or 5 years to get to the point where I could do this.
There's something that makes you want to look at that camera. But you do that, and they say, cut. Take number 23 coming, or whatever.
Right. Right. So you don't look at the camera, you look everywhere else. What's there?
That's
you look at the character. Yeah, because you're usually interacting with somebody, aren't you, for the most part, and you gotta be in the moment with that other actor or actress or whoever that is. Yeah.
And that's what acting is all about,
right.
Be in the moment and just not know your lines, but reply in such a way that makes sense to the person who has been talking to you. There's many ways you can say any different thing.
Yeah, I was at a little workshop just a few weeks ago where a lady was doing kind of a lights, camera, action for teenagers, and she said, we always had to remember the other person's line, at least the last 2 or 3 words. Because when we heard that last word, then we knew it was our time to, because you didn't want to be thinking about all your lines. You just wanted to try to be in that moment with them, And
you're right. If you're just waiting for them to finish their little speech, and you're waiting for that last 2 or 3 lines, well, that means in that time leading up to that, you're thinking, what is my next line? What is my and you're really not comfortable with a line until you know it.
Till you know it, and you got to say it a lot of time, or you got to pray. That's why there's 23 cuts, or that's why you do it again, or do it again, or try it a different way, or whatever.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. What you may think is perfect, the director and the producer may think that's not the way we want it done. But I've been lucky; they've let me pretty much do my own thing. Not that I understand everything about it, but I've just developed. Sometimes my character goes against the flow of the grain. It's the grain, and it's worked for me sometimes. Sometimes I gotta go right down the there, and there's
so there we go. That's
there's 2 people right there that had never been in a grade school play before. And I was 33. Neither one of us had ever been in a grade school play. Of course, she won the Academy Award.
Yeah, Tatum O'Neal. Isn't that fun? And like you say, so got a few of the movies, Blazing Saddles, obviously, that was a big hit. And then kind of what'd you do after that? You just stayed there, and did you just move to Hollywood and stay there and do a lot of these other films?
Yeah, did my 24 years there. And, now I've done 52 movies and about 175 television shows and, golly, over 200 commercials. So it's been thank you, Mel, for talking.
Right.
To it.
It's been a wild ride.
Sammy Walker, two-time Olympian in two different sports, weightlifting and shot putting.
Shot putting, yeah. And such a shame too, because he was going when we boycotted Russia, so he didn't actually get to go, even though he'd made all the trials and made the deal.
Good, yeah.
And he was so much better than everybody else, so much further.
Right, and of course, your father was his football coach at Spruce, not Spruce.
Samuel. Samuel.
Samuel, WW7, yes.
Yeah. Did you play football for Woodrow?
No.
Okay,
I was a little kid, about 135, 40.
You was a boxer, though, weren't you, though? You did boxing with the Coast Guard, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I had 217 fights, and I won 201 of them.
Wow.
But I really should have won all but two of them. I only got one guy that was, I think, better than me. And he wasn't much better, but he was better.
Yeah. And you did a lot of refereeing and charity events and things like that with the different boxing groups or with police and firemen. And over the years, I know that's been a big thing for you. And when did you start playing golf? Did you play golf all along, or did you start playing when you were out?
I started playing golf when I was 45 years old. And boy, I mean, when I started, I jumped in and I really played hard and long.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever played in a tournament, which was about the fourth time I'd ever played, I played, you may not know golf courses, but I played Pinehurst number 2.
Right.
That is at least one of the top 3 courses in
the country. Yeah.
States, so I started at the top there.
There you go.
But I dug up a lot of fairways in that 3-day tournament too.
Well, I love it. And we appreciate too that, Burton's come out and played in my dad's golf tournament. We had a tournament for Dad, and we've been doing that for about 20 years. And so when he's available, he comes out and plays with us. We appreciate that so much.
It's a wonderful tournament that all the people there are so good. I play with a different threesome. There's 4 of us. I'll play with a different threesome every year, and every one of them is, every guy I've ever played with there is just
is a pretty good golfer. They're playing to win, aren't they? They aren't just out there they have a good time, but they just out there to have a good time.
And if you win, that's just icing on the cake.
Right. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, who were some of your? I know you don't want to do too many favorites, but what were the surprises? I don't know. I was going to ask you who was your favorite person that you met, or who did you really admire? I guess maybe is a better word that you met over the years.
Of course, right off the bat, I worked with
Madeline?
Burt Reynolds.
Oh, Burt. Okay. Yeah.
A great friend, and I think he's the one that really sticks out in my mind, because he was such a good guy to everybody. Now, if you did the wrong thing and you got on the wrong side of Burt Reynolds, you
knew it.
You knew it. Yeah. Such a good man.
Great.
Everybody,
such a great guy. Yeah.
With him. Yeah. Good guy.
Yeah, enjoyed working with him. Yeah, that's good. Well, and I was going to say, and some of the so then when you did television shows, you had a recurring role on Evening Shade, didn't you, for years there?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. I did the first 3 years. It went 4. I did the first 3, and after 3, I just decided I wanted to get back out on doing other stuff.
Right. Yeah, because it's a series. When you're doing a television series, it's a whole different thing, isn't it? A movie can be 3 or 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, a couple of months. But when you're doing a series, you got to show up every week, don't you?
Right. Every week you're there, unless they write you out. They never
right.
Out, but it was Evening Shade was a wonderful experience. We had the best television series cast.
Yeah.
I know it was the most expensive at the time. It was
right.
unbelievable. Yeah, big stuff.
Right. Yeah, big stars. How much it costs? But like you say, a great show, and that's what ran for so many years, and such good people, and so much fun to do. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, well, what like you say, I started to ask you what surprised you about this? Just the fact that you were even doing the movies, or being in films, or was there other things along the way?
I never have been nervous in front of the camera,
Camera.
but
Okay.
still, the first 2 or 3 years, I really thought that I had probably just had them fooled, you know.
Right.
And
Right.
one time when after I'd been in the business about 3 years, I think I went about 5 or 6 months without even reading for anything.
Right.
And I went over to see my agent, Steve Stevens. I went over to see him in his office. And I said, Steve, I think they just found out about me. He said, what? I said, yeah, I hadn't been out on anything. I think they found out I just wasn't any good. I was just a little lucky. He said, are you crazy? And at that time, he said, here you've done 5 or 6 or 7 movies and 25 television shows and 25 or 30 commercials. He said, you can get real lucky for 1, 2, or 3, maybe 3 times. But after that, they know if you're good or you're lucky. And he said, you're not lucky. And it was funny because about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days later, I got a call from Peter Bogdanovich, and I went on and did another one of his movies. So it just started over, and away we went again.
And there we went again. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So that was fun. Do you enjoy the comedy more? Do you like playing a serious character?
Yeah, because I don't know who the bad guy is, you know. I'm that guy right back there.
Right.
Hey, this is what I got right here, folks, and it's all you're gonna get. You know?
Right. Yeah. You always want to, like you say, play a happy character and or a character that's enjoying life, or help trying to get the rest of them to laugh and have a good time. And
I didn't study. I've never studied a lick, but you know what? I've got a PhD.
Right.
It's right there. That is my PhD.
Right. Well, that's it.
It has. It's worked for me in the movie business, in my private life, everything I've done. I know that I'm noted for that.
Right.
And I don't have to put it on for anybody. It's just me.
Right. Smiles for miles. Somebody's saying over here.
You know what? You can't make a racehorse out of a jackass. It just can't be done, but I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
We're working on it. And every day above ground is a good day, and we can keep on working on it. We can keep on doing it for sure. So, well, that's the thing. So, are you still doing some things now and again, or do you kind of ease back a little bit? Because I know you had a health issue, and you kind of fought that off, and we're glad to see that. And
I've eased back a little, but easing back came kind of natural because we had COVID-19.
Right.
All
to everybody.
Ease back, whether we wanted to or not.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to get it back there, but I've just turned 84 years young.
Yeah. Vintage, as our friend Herb Jeffries would say. You're a vintage 84.
84.
Yeah, he was 101 when he died a couple of years ago.
It's over 100, and I'm not sure he's still alive. Is he?
Yeah, no, he passed away 2 years ago at 101.
He and I played so much golf together.
He was a big golfer, yeah.
And about 30 years ago, he married a woman who was 50 years younger than he was.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, and like I say, they've married all these years until the end, and she's, what a sweetheart she really was. Took care of him, and they had the best time together. She came out, he was one of the first people we inducted into the Cowboy Museum and Hall of Fame.
Really?
Over in Fort Worth, and so that's when I got to meet him back, 15 15 years ago, but we just sat at his feet and listened because he had all these great stories, you know. And
stories, that guy, Herb Jeffers, had more stories than anybody I've ever known. Yeah. And playing golf with him, riding in a cart with him, it was just one story right after the other. And, you know, a lot of times when people talk, you kind of get tired. You never get tired.
You never got tired of what he had to say.
Stories. Golly. Yeah. What a wonderful guy.
Yeah, he really was. So he was the first one we did on the show, the very first show we did. This is episode 35.
Really?
So we try to do every Thursday at 5 p.m., you know, and like I say, we're trying to have some different folks on, some men, some women. We had some urban gardeners on. We've had, you know, we've done a kind of the man on the ranch, you know, how to catch a horse, how to saddle and reins. And we got a little kid, Cleo's great-grandson, Mr. Hearn's great-grandson is coming along now. You know, he's 20. And so he's kind of our man on the ranch kind of thing. And he's going to go out and interview people like farriers and horse trainers and real cowboys, you know, and stock contractors, people actually working in that Western lifestyle and keeping that legacy alive. Because, you know, with the rodeos, we weren't sure if we were going to continue or not, because Cleo's 83. He's, you know, and he's getting on up, and and so he
was the first, one of a kind, and he is like Jackie Robinson. He was the first black man cowboy, and he was chosen right. I mean, there are others that they could have gotten, I guess, to be the first, but he was the right guy to put in that position.
Yeah. And he actually won the first African American to win a championship. He won at the National Western, the calf roping championship up at Denver. You know, that's one of their stock shows called the National Western every year, and like with Fort Worth stock show here, you know, that we have. And so you know, he won there, but he, like you say, he was the right guy at the right time for all the stuff. Because like you say, you know, he didn't get to ride at first, but he didn't care. He just kept on. He was just totally focused on being a cowboy, and his skills finally, his stuff did, you know, his times were so much better than the other guys, and people could see the time on the board. Even though he didn't get to ride, you know, he didn't get to ride during the regular rodeo, and they kept going, well, who's that Cleo Hearn guy? We didn't get to see him. And so it was really the audience, you know, that made, and the other cowboys, because they respected that his work ethic.
Now, see, you're supposed to ask all the questions, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
What years was that when he started?
Well, he started in 59, so he became a professional. He actually started before that, probably in 56 or 7. He was 16, but he didn't get his card for professional card until he was 1959. So
he knew, you know, Jim Shoulders.
That's right. Yeah, Jim and Neil, and, you know, rode with all those guys. And those were the first places he rode, you know, was Mesquite and Fort Worth. They were the first ones that actually let him ride in the arena, you know, during the regular rodeos, not just after the rodeo or during slack, you know, because sometimes they have so many cowboys, you know, they have to go before or after, and then only the best get to go that night. But and he chose calf roping because it was the timer. He was running against the calf and the timer. He wasn't being judged by a judge. Like bull riding is judged by a judge. You know, a judge actually stands over there and watches you, how you stay on and how you ride, and if you put your hand in the wrong place or whatever, and how the bull does, you know.
Yeah, it's cost you a second, and that's put you out of the money.
Right. And I can tell you, in the 30 years we worked together, you know, he never talked about the difficulties.
Really?
He was always positive. He always wanted to talk about education. He always wanted to say, you know, what can we do for this next generation? How can we bring these guys along? You know, and really that's why he started the rodeo, so that these younger guys would know how to act, they know how to dress, they know how to talk. If somebody put a microphone in your face, because you know what it's like, you're out somewhere, somebody just walks up and puts a microphone in your face or starts talking to you, you know, you got to be able to at least say something besides,
right.
Yep.
That's all. That's part of it. I mean, you just because you can ride and rope and do all that stuff well, you've got to have be able to correspond and talk to people. Yeah,
right. And
talk
communicate.
To that thing
Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Did it ever bother you to talk to people or to have fans come up? I don't think it ever did it? I mean, you always were happy to talk to anybody that came along, or was it an irritation at certain times when you were married?
Never a problem. Even when I was boxing, if it was a big match coming up, well, you know, the television and radio stations would back in, and because I was the one that could really talk about it. You know, I might have been scared to death, but I wasn't scared to talk to. I was scared of the other guy.
Right. That's right.
I wasn't scared of the camera.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So,
but
and you just learn, you learn how to talk to people.
If I was scared in a fight, and I must admit, I was scared a lot of times in a boxing match. I really was, until the bell rang. But I think the more afraid I was, the better I was.
The better you did.
Sharper than a tack then,
Right. Yeah, for sure. She went out and did a better job, because you were a little bit nervous. It's okay to be a little bit nervous, and it's okay to be a little bit scared. That kind of helped you, and that probably helped you in the stage stuff too, and the film stuff too, didn't it?
It kept me on my toes, and I know I probably didn't blink my eyes at all.
For the first 2 or 3 years, yeah. Did you have a favorite commercial? Was there a favorite commercial over the years of the 200, or can you even remember?
The Pace Picani commercial.
Okay, that was great, wasn't it?
That's us made New York City rope, and those ran for 11 years, and they were. And when they finally
longest running commercial, I think, wasn't it?
Hey, where'd all that money go? It was a great run. Great time.
Yeah, it was a great time. Those were great commercials. And like you say, this ran for years too. So that was really fun. So, so this is Wild West Diversity, and we're here every Thursday at 5. You can see this recording. So if you want to come back and watch the recording again, you can go to YouTube, because this gets archived to our YouTube channel. We'll also be pulling this down as a podcast, and it'll go out to our podcast 11 channels. So I'm going to spell this for you. You probably already know. I probably don't have to spell Burton Gilliam, but I'm going to spell it for you anyway. Burton, Gillam, Gillam. So, because if you're listening, if you're listening to this conversation, you're not seeing the screen, and you're not seeing some of the 52 films and the 200 commercials and the 170 television shows that Burton's been engaged in over all these years. And so we're so glad that he came today. Burton, if there's somebody starting out, what would you give them advice? What advice would you give somebody that wanted to get in the film business, or even the boxing business, or the golf business?
I don't really have any additional advice than any working actor would give you. A working actor would tell you to work hard, go to school, get your work in plays, and do stuff, but also keep in mind that you need to have something to fall back on, because you don't. If you put all of your peas in one basket, or whatever you put in a basket, you can be real disappointed. And there have been a lot of disappointments, for people who went to Hollywood to be actors, actresses. It just didn't work.
Yeah, and it didn't work out. Yeah, because not everybody makes it.
Just because you have talent, that does not, as you know, that doesn't make it for you. You've got to have something else, and we don't know what that is.
Right. Yeah. And you never know what the audience is going to like. You never know what the producer or the director or what they're looking for, and so you just, like you say, you just got to audition. You just got to got to go out, do the work. I mean, like Burton said, there's a lot of community theater. There are a lot of opportunities to do plays locally. And so if it's something you want to do and pursue, we want to encourage you to pursue that, because we're all about pursuing your creative and action if you can. But like we say, there's a lot of different things you can be doing in the meantime.
Yeah.
That will support that, and sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to do other job, to support things until you get to a certain point.
Yeah, be prepared to. I never had to. I was really lucky right off the bat, but be prepared to wait some tables or whatever it takes to get your footing in there in Hollywood or New York or wherever you go to make it happen.
Right. Do you see Texas as kind of the third coast? I mean, they started for a while doing a lot of movies and things down here, but I guess COVID really put everybody under the.
They touted that for 2 or 3 years, but in the last 2 or 3 years, New Mexico has really come on, Louisiana's come on, and it's all about what the state will be able to give you.
Right. Provide you or give you, give you incentives and stuff like that to bring people in, because it's a huge thing. I mean, we did a thing because Cleo was the Black Marlboro man, the first Black Marlboro guy. He did commercial work with Pepsi and Levi and Marlboro, but they did a legacy piece on him, and we probably had about 50 people on set. They came out to the ranch. We did, and I said, well, how many y'all got? I said, we got about 10 or 15. They said, oh, we probably got about 20. They just kept pulling in and pulling in and pulling in. I mean, it ended up there's like 50. I mean, the camera guy had an assistant. There were 3 different camera guys. One was carrying a big thing. One was carrying a rolling one. One was, there was the food guy. There was the bathroom guy. There was the, that put up the tents. I mean, there was the decorating guy that took things off the barn and then put them back.
And nobody does 2 jobs. I mean, it's all union controlled. So, I can take this light bulb out of this over here because that's an electrician's job.
That's right. So, I mean, and I can imagine that if you're on a movie set, that it's 3 or 4 times that. It's just astonishing how many people it takes to actually make something happen, to get it from point A to point B. So,
sure.
Well, I appreciate you so much. We're pretty close here. I know you need to jump off too, but this has been so much fun and kind of here. And I'm so glad that you were lucky, talented, and that you had that $1 million smile.
Oh boy! Well, you know what? I'm lucky just to be sitting here talking to you. Thank you.
That's right. So we always have a good time together, and I hated that it goes so fast. The time goes so fast, but maybe we can have you come back on a little bit later at another time, and we'll catch up on some other stuff. But you got inducted into the Woodrow Hall of Fame. My Woodrow people be mad if I don't mention that Woodrow Wildcats, background. And you've kind of worked with them over the years, have you? MCing and doing some stuff.
I'm doing a big golf tournament with them Friday.
Oh, okay.
I did the ticket yesterday morning on radio to trump up the thing, So
try to get some people out.
The Woodrow Fest that we're doing.
Oh, okay, that's the Woodrow Fest thing. I've seen all the signs because we moved back over here to East Dallas, so we live over here in Gaston now.
Oh,
we moved in from 40.
In our country, you can't have a horse where you're living now.
No, I just have to go out and visit somebody else's horse. But I need to get back on a horse. I haven't ridden in a while, but I might put that on the list to do. So.
This is a real cowgirl right here. I'm telling you.
Well, thank you so much, Burton. We appreciate it. If there's any last thing you want to say to our folks, and then I'll wrap us up.
Okay, I need to tell you something before I go. I love you.
Oh, I love you too. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. And Susan too. Give her a hug. And then this has been Liz Lawless with episode 35 with actor Burton Gilliam. We're so pleased to have him, and we're so glad he's had this long career and that you know his face. You probably know his name, but if you see him out somewhere, go up and say hello. And this is Liz Lawless for Wild West Diversity, and we'll see you next Thursday, or we'll see you on the trail. Bye-bye. Hello, this is Liz Lawless, your host for Wild West Diversity, where we tell the rarely and untold stories of multicultural contributions to the settling of the American Wild West. Each Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be sharing a historical legend and a living legend. Someone from history and someone living that Western lifestyle today, keeping it alive for the future generation. We hope you'll join us on Thursday. If not, we'll see you on the trail.